Grace and peace, everyone. We are back, and this is a special late night live stream. I've never done this before, so I've never stayed up this late. So to do a live stream, but I just wanted to hang out with some of the people that have been that have found the channel, that have been supporting the channel, and they're outside of the United States. So I wanted to do it a little bit later and give a shout out, a head nod to my brothers and sisters out there on the West Coast, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to. So we're gonna do a late night show. And I got some interesting topics I want to talk about. We've talked about one of them, and that is the Joe Biden going to Morehouse College. And I mentioned in a previous episode that I think that it's problematic that Morehouse would have Joe Biden come to Morehouse. I do believe that it's a publicity stunt. I do believe it's an attempt to sway. It's a campaign move. No, I'm not even mad at you, but let's just call it what it is. It's a campaign move. However, a lot of the pushback that they're getting is about everything that's going on in the Middle East and Joe Biden's, I guess, approval, if you will, or acceptance of one side of the Middle East conflict over the other side. And it's really interesting because at the end of the day, in my opinion, there's far more to be worried about, far more to be concerned about, far more to be in a tizzy over than something that's going on 9 time zones over. In my previous episode, I mentioned there are Planned Parenthood abortion mills around the Atlanta University Center. Where is the outrage? Where is the pushback about Joe Biden's acceptance of them? And I haven't heard a lot of response in that regard. Now, I actually have not only the article responding to that, I actually have a video from the town hall meeting that they had with the alumni and teachers and professors at Morehouse, along with Dr. Thomas. It's really interesting, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to kind of look in, get an understanding of what is the mindset of the students that are pushing back about this whole issue going on in the Middle East and why they don't think that Biden should come. And then, of course, Biden is coming. So that's a sealed deal. That's a wrap. But also kind of understand what is their thought process behind President Thomas having him come in, which I think is super wild. And so I just thought that we would look at that and then also have a very interesting something going on here in Atlanta. And if you don't know, my name is Jason. I am an alumni of Morehouse College, class of 1999. I do love my alma mater, and I weep for the fact that so much good that Morehouse has produced is being overshadowed by the woke ideologies and just embracing the culture and not standing up to the culture, or dare I even say, driving the culture in another direction. Rather than that, my alma mater has just basically embraced it. But I am still very happy for the experiences I had at Morehouse, and I want to prayerfully see it move in another direction. I don't know if that's possible, but at least I will hold out hope. But let us jump in on this evening. And this is from a new news source I found. I've never seen them before. It's called the Capital B Atlanta. I don't know who the Capital B is. I wasn't able to find out if this author of this article is a Morehouse graduate or alumni or anything of that nature. I don't think he is, but maybe he is. It might be. Hopefully, maybe I can find out a little bit more about him in the future. But I do want to talk about this. So let's go. Let's jump in. And I'm going to go over this article, and then, of course, we'll go back and look at the actual audio. Here we go. Planned Biden Morehouse visit angers Black student Gaza supporters. I'm going to just go on a record again. I think this is a foolish place to land. There's a lot of things, and you're going to see it. It's pretty gross, the amount of vitriol that these young men have for their president over something that, in my opinion, doesn't even affect them. It doesn't affect them. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but let's go. President David A. Thomas is grilled at a town hall where critics accuse him of making the college complicit in the Biden administration's actions. As I told you before, the woke ideology is a grievance gospel, is a grievance doctrine, and you cannot have a disagreement. It can't be just, You have your opinion, I have mine. We have apples to apples comparison. You can't have that. You have to agree 100% or not. There's no in between. 99.5 won't do. And we're going to see just how vitriolic these young men are toward their president of the university. Now, I will say this. President Thomas is the first non-Morehouse man president, but that's beside the point. I think he's made many strides as an alumni. I feel like he's done a lot of good things for the college. So his affiliation, he's actually he's a Harvard grad. That's beside the point, in my opinion. I believe he's done enough to justify that he deserves the respect of that we would afford anyone else. Real quick, the under caption here: Morehouse College President David A. Thomas answers questions about President Joe Biden's planned commencement speech during its student town hall meeting Tuesday on campus. I did find it interesting because I thought we were reading it on Wednesday and they were talking about tomorrow being Thursday. So apparently maybe this happened sooner. I'm not 100% certain, but let us go. There's one more point. When you see the video, I think you might have some questions about this first opening sentence. Morehouse College students packed a campus auditorium Tuesday evening to voice their anger at a decision to invite President Joe Biden to deliver the historically Black institution's commencement address next month. I don't think that room was packed out at all. We'll talk about that in a second. Most of the estimated 50 students in attendance, that's not a packed out stadium. That's not a packed out auditorium. You'll see it in a second. That's not packed out at all. In attendance on Tuesday's meeting expressed outrage and frustration at Biden's support for Israel in the war with Hamas. The conflict has killed more than 34,000 Palestinian citizens since October. Students who spoke Tuesday expressed their horror at the images of dead Palestinian women and children that have been seen on social media. Only one student in attendance defended Biden's scheduled appearance. All right, so let me just give it a little bit of context right there. This is totally what happens when you feed young adults nothing more than a grievance doctrine, that you must find something to be grieved about. You have now young men who are fighting against their quote unquote Democratic president over something that is not even related to them, while so much is going on in Atlanta, in the United States, toward Black people that we do to ourselves. But that's completely and totally missed here. Let us continue. Some worried that giving Biden a platform at Martin Luther King Jr.'s alma mater could damage the school's reputation. The school's reputation is not being held together because of Joe Biden or because of MLK. It is because of the men that have come after them and the men that are now going to be walking across that stage on May 19th. It has nothing to do. We are the men that promote the reputation of Morehouse College. The school is not an entity in and of itself. The school is a compilation of all of the other individuals that have made it up, from the alumni to the sitting students, to the graduating students, to the faculty, administration, and everyone else that supports Morehouse. We are all Morehouse. It's not just Joe Biden is going to ruin the reputation. We've ruined our reputation. Let me say that again. We have ruined our reputation. We don't need Joe Biden to do it. Let us continue. How do you justify what you're going to bestow on Biden on our behalf? Morehouse Senior Jason May asked President David A. Thomas during Tuesday's town hall, noting that Biden is also due to receive an honorary degree in accordance with the tradition for Morehouse commencement speakers. He characterized the president as, this part right here, I said, like I'm telling you, this is a grievance doctrine. Watch what he says. He characterized the president as basically a war criminal and argued that giving him a platform at Morehouse makes the school complicit in what's happening in Gaza. This is what happens when you give these young men a steady diet of nothing but grievance and victimhood mentality. But again, I'm just here to watch it. I'm just here to enjoy I'm going to pop some popcorn, take my beverage of choice tonight, and we're just going to watch and have a good time. Continue. The tensions at Morehouse exemplify how some student activists anger at the Biden administration for causing an upheaval on college campuses. This week, hundreds of pro-Palestinian student protesters were arrested, and in-person classes were canceled at Columbia University in New York. Its president now faces some calls to resign. Listen to what they're saying. They no longer want their president to hold the office of the president of their college because something is going on 10 time zones over. This has now reached the fever pitch of insanity. That's got to be insane. And I don't even care about Columbia. But for real, you're literally asking your president here in the United States to resign from their position because they hold a position that you don't agree with about something that's happening on, which, by the way, does not affect you personally, on 10 time zones away. Okay, that makes sense to you. In January, the Harvard University's first black president, Claudine Gay, resigned amidst controversy over her answers to questions about anti-Semitism on campus during a congressional hearing. Again, this is a grievance gospel, a grievance doctrine that must be fed. It cannot feed itself. It cannot produce life. It needs something to feed off of. Let me continue to make my point. Thomas made it clear during the emergency town hall meeting that he won't rescind his invitation to Biden despite backlash from students and faculty over the preceding 24 hours. I mean, he said, whatever. I told y'all, this is going to happen. It's going to be happening. And I was looking through the alumni page and the alumni group me, and I was surprised how many men have no problem with this. But this is the part when you've fed them a Black Lives Matters, social justice, protest at any cost type of mentality, and you've buttressed it and you kind of hinged it upon what happened during the civil rights, these people now feel like they are part of it. They feel like they are part of the civil rights movement by fighting with people here stateside over something that's happening 9, 10 time zones away that will never affect them at all. Now, I know I keep saying that it'll never affect them at all, and I know somebody's in the comments and they're going to get upset that I'm saying that it doesn't matter. Don't hear what I did not say. I did not say that lives of Palestinians or lives of Israelis or lives of anyone else that's not directly affected you doesn't matter. What I am saying, however, is I need that same energy for the little black babies and the little brown babies that will never be able to live here in Atlanta. Remember, right around the University Center, Atlanta University Center, are at least 3 Planned Parenthood murder mills. Why are you not using that same amount of energy for the fact that those little black boys will never be Morehouse men? Those little brown girls will never be Spelmanites. Where is your energy for them? But you're worrying about some people far over there on the other side because you're live action role playing. You don't actually care. This is performative protest. You don't really care about this. You just want something to make you feel like you're doing something. This is virtual signaling on steroids. If you disagree with me, my name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. Feel free to email management, but I don't care. Let us continue. At HBCUs, no classes have been canceled, and there's no indication that Thomas's job is in jeopardy at Morehouse. If they did that over this, it would be a blight on our college. I'm going to say that again. If they ran that man out of here over what's going on 10 time zones over, that would be a blight on Morehouse. Again, y'all can tell me about the reputation all you want to, but running a man out of here over something that crazy, that is unheard of. But let me continue. Still, the anger over Biden's visit reflects the political challenge to a president whose re-election hopes might ride on black votes, many of whom disagree with his policies. I'm going to stop right there on his policies. It's not the war that people have a problem with. We have a problem is the fact that you're paying $4 a gallon in gas. The problem is that you can't afford a dozen eggs and a loaf of bread. That is the problem. The problem is you don't have much. You got far more month than you have paycheck. Those are the problems. Those are the problems. What he's saying about what's going on 10 time zones over really doesn't bother me. I don't care. And most of us don't really, you're not losing sleep over that. What you're losing sleep on is whether or not you can pay your light bill, your water bill, or your gas bill. Those are the problems and the issues that are real. Those are the real issues. His policies overseas, again, We don't want people to be harmed. We don't want people to die. Especially as Christians, we want people to come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. The point, however, is that I'm not losing sleep over that, and you're munching up babies in murder mills here in Atlanta, down the street and around the corner from Morehouse. Please miss me with your Please miss me with your virtue signaling. Miss me. Miss me. Just totally miss me, because it's not going to work. It's dumb. Let us continue. By engaging with students at the town hall, Thomas took a different approach than Columbia's, I guess that's the president's name, to discord at Morehouse. He hosted a Q&A session inside the Bank of America auditorium for about 24 hours after news broke that Biden would come to the campus on May 19th. He also endured personal criticisms for his decision. One young man questioned whether or not Thomas would benefit financially from Biden's visit. These people are wild. But listen what he says. I want you to know if you've been paid. I want to know if you've been paid to provide Biden a platform to address the student body, the student said. Now, would he have said that to Oprah? Would he have said that if anybody else came to speak? No, he wouldn't have said that. This is just dumb. But let us go. This is what happens when you feed a grievance doctrine on a steady drip to these young adults. This is what you get. You should not have expected anything better than this. I've not been paid. I have not been bought, Thomas answered. That question is an insult, but because you are a student here, I owe you the opportunity to do that, but I'm going to call it out. Amen. Amen. There's no reason to say that. Thomas refused to answer another student's question about if what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. How about this one? I'm going to ask if what's happening down the street and around the corner from the Atlanta University Center at the government-funded Planned Parenthood facility is genocide. There we go. At least two students who spoke Tuesday worried that Biden could use Morehouse as a campaign backdrop to help him win over black voters in a battleground state. Am I supposed to believe that there was anything else? That's not revelation knowledge. You're not some kind of super sleuth. That's exactly what he's doing. Why would it have been anything else? Just like when Kamala Harris hosted, 14 different HBCUs back in September. That was a move for this. That was it. That's not new. One called the speech an easy photo op for the president, comparing his appearance by former President Donald Trump at a nearby Chick-fil-A 2 weeks ago. Another took issue with Biden supporting billions in military aid to Ukraine. I got issue with that for sure. I got tons of issues with that. There's a supreme amount of poverty that is continuing to increase in our communities and throughout America. But we're seeing a president who continues to shift our tax dollars overseas and continues to ignore our needs, the student said. That right there, that's all that matters. That sentence right there is the only thing that matters in this whole thing. Right there. I mean, you really, truly are not losing sleep over your what's going on, Biden's opinion on something going on 9 time zones over. That is not your issue. That's not. When you get your child's school tuition bill, that's the problem. When you look at how much you're paying in gas compared to how much you were paying 4 years ago, that's the problem. This other stuff right here is just foolishness. But Thomas defended his stance, suggesting that the presidential visit underscores the school's stature as an elite institution rather than undermining it. I mean, again, I'm a proud alumni. I think we've done some great things. This is not one of them, however. This is not one of them. Let us continue. We have a platform at Morehouse that that the world pays attention to, and we call people to that platform who are important people in the world. He said, the president of the United States is one of those people. Yeah, I mean, there's no argument there. I mean, I can't disagree with you. I just don't think that Joe Biden should be there. Student protests of government policy has a long history at Morehouse and other Atlanta University Center institutions, where student leaders helped propel the 1960s era civil rights movement. See what I mean? They see themselves as a part of the civil rights movement, not a part of protecting little brown and little black babies that are not going to ever be Morehouse men or Spelman women or Clark Atlanta students or Morris Brown students. They don't see themselves as a role in that, but rather they see themselves in a role dealing with something that's light years away that has no bearing on their existence whatsoever. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the reality. Multiple AUC students told Capital B Atlanta they intend to protest, here it comes, during Biden's planned visit. This is the part that I'm like, I was surprised how many people, men, were actually okay with the idea that somebody's going to protest during graduation. I just thought that was amazing. And even as far as like besmirching others who don't want that to be the case, like they want their son to walk across the stage without any conflict, without any kind of issue, but they actually were besmirching like, no, they need to be able to do this. It was wild. I actually didn't know where to go with that. Like, how did we get here? Let's go. Planned visit, including Morehouse Jr., Daxton Pettis and Spelman freshman Emil. Both Pettis and Spelman are activist members of the Student Intercommunal Coordinating Committee. I've never heard that before, who participated in Tuesday night's candlelight vigil at Spelman in support of oppressed people in Sudan, Congo, Haiti, and Gaza. What does that actually do? Not a thing. It's performative. A candlelight vigil is performative. There is nothing that actually changes or is made right by you doing that. You can sit here and roll your candle out and sing Teddy Pendergrass till the cows come home. I'm not going to turn this light on. I was going to do the little candle thing. You can do that all you want, but nothing's going to change. Not a thing. And the thing also is other people are watching you do this, and they know that 3 blocks over and around the corner is a Planned Parenthood facility. They know that there's more brown babies in Atlanta that are munched up in Planned Parenthoods than are actually born in some instances. They know that in most major cities, Black people are now past the point of replacement. They're not having enough babies to replace the Black people that are alive and the brown people that are alive today. So we're actually not able to replace ourselves. They know that, but then they're watching you, highly educated, highly empowered, highly active people fighting for people that are 9 time zones over and not for the people that are right here in your own community. But then you'll point your finger at Joe Biden, you point your finger at Trump and say they're the reason why your community is failing, not the fact that y'all are not doing what you need to do for your community. I have a video coming up tomorrow. We'll be doing a live looking at Michael Eric Dyson, who literally blames Trump for everything. I literally believe he blamed Trump for his achy left knee. I mean, Trump is the reason for everything, but none of his responsibilities are he never puts any of the onus on Black people. It is our responsibility, but he doesn't see it like that. Let us continue. Modali said that if the election were held today, she would choose a third-party candidate over Biden and Trump. That's a lie. That's a lie. Nope. You have to be bought into the third-party candidacy. I'm going to tell you this. I feel very comfortable in saying this. If you're somebody that says, oh, I'm just going to go vote third party because I'm mad at Biden because of this, or I'm mad at Trump because of that, you're not going to do that. You can go right in there. You're going to push that D or you're going to push that R. You're not going to go hit independent. You're not going to hit a third party. You're not going to do it. You're going to go with what you're familiar with. You'll just hold your nose. You'll just say, yeah, it's okay. Please forgive me, and then go and click it. But you're not going to go third party. You have to be committed to third party. I'm telling you this as a former libertarian. You have to be committed to it. You got to be in it. You can't just go in there and be like, I'm gonna go in here and vote third party. No, you're not. You got to be in that third party. You got to. You're not gonna go in there and do it. I'm telling you emphatically, you won't do it. You might say it might make you feel good to say it. You might feel warm and fuzzy if you say it, but it's not going to be true. And that is reality. Let us continue to get this thing done, Jason. Let's go. It is dangerous for us to continue on this path, choosing between two parties instead of setting up what we want as voters. She said, you know what? I actually believe that. I do think that we need a third party system, a 3-party system. I do agree with that. The problem is y'all not going to do it. You don't want to have a third party candidate and actually support a third party candidate from the grassroots level to November, whatever the election year is. You don't want that. You don't want that. You're not going to do it. So it sounds good. It looks good on the Capital B newsletter, but you're not going to do it. You're not. Clark Atlanta University political science professor Kurt Young said, speaking at Morehouse may be a gamble for Biden, but the AUC may be his best bet to receive a warm reception from college students. I disagree. And not just because I am not a Biden supporter. Biden is not electric. Biden is not electrifying. Biden is not, he doesn't create excitement. That's just reality. He's not going to create excitement in these young men and their families. He's not. He's not an electrifying individual. Now, am I saying Trump is? No, absolutely not. I'm just saying Biden is not electrifying. He's not encouraging. He's not somebody, and again, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. But let us continue. Young pointed out that Kamala Harris received a chorus of cheers from the AUC students in September, but she's an HBCU alum and the nation's first Black vice president. Facts. And that event took place before the Gaza war began. Those are all facts and evidence. So you can't look at this and say, oh, well, if it worked for Kamala, it'll work for Joe. It is not going to happen like that. Trust me, it is not going to happen like that. I do think he will receive a warm reception. Okay. I think for the general populace, yes, he will probably receive. I mean, there's going to easily be 3,000-4,000 people at graduation without any problem. And it's going to probably be the lion's share of those people. Let's just say 4,000 for easy math, maybe 100, maybe 150 are protesting to some degree, shape, or form. The rest of them are going to be perfectly fine with it. I just don't think that he's electrifying. I don't think he is going to draw people into his vision or draw people in to what it is that he wants to see in HBCUs, which I don't think he actually has a vision for HBCUs, but I digress. I do think that he'll receive a warm reception, Young said of Biden. Of course, that doesn't mean everyone in the audience has a monolithic view. At the end of the day, we are on a college campus and we are in an important and social political upheaval. We don't have to be, though. We don't have to be in that regard. We don't have to be. That is a decision that we make to make this something that it doesn't need to be. I'm sorry. We don't have to be in a political upheaval. That's just my opinion. Let me see what we got in the traps. There's some good conversations going on. Thank y'all so very much for hanging out with me. This is, oh, by the way, this is a members only live stream. I want to start doing some special live streams for my members, those who are supporting Dear Woke Christian and helping me grow this channel and do some great things here at Whitaker Park, as well as at Podium Studio. So this is my way of saying thank you. And I wanted to make sure that I gave you all some content that you all could say, this is for us. And it won't go to the main audience until next week. But then also I'm doing it late night because I want to try to get in the habit, maybe once or twice a week, or maybe every couple of weeks, to do a late live stream or an earlier live stream to be a blessing to some of those people that support Dear World Christian from outside of the United States. It really means a lot to me that you all find value in what I'm doing, and you come to these lives, you support me, you email me, you do all these things. So I want to make sure that in whatever I need to do, if that's a members only live, if that's getting up early or staying up late, that I do that to let you all know that I appreciate you and thank you so much for your support. So thank you very much. Now, I'm still not convinced this was from Tuesday. I think that they might have the date wrong, but nonetheless, I have the video from the Q&A town hall meeting that Dr. Thomas had. And I'm just going to let it play. I've heard lots of the clips, but there's only a few places where I really want to talk. But I do want to give you all a chance to kind of see and hear what my brethren, what their thought process is. So let me bring this in.
Not be able to.
Right there, but it is reality. All right, I'm going to get Jason out of the way here. All right, let's go.
He should not be able to exploit that opportunity by pushing any kind of political agenda or narrative, no campaign. All that should be barred. If he's going to address us, he needs to be giving us something, some kind of inspiration, nothing that has to do with his campaign. He's going to turn around and use it and let us know that we ain't black unless we vote him next election.
Brothers at Morehouse are mad that Joe Biden is still scheduled to come speak to them during their commencement on May 19th. They recently had a meeting with the president of the university. And as you can see, the president says that the reason Joe Biden is coming to speak to them is because Morehouse is the road to the White House.
We have graduation on track for May 19th. We will have the President of the United States coming to speak at Morehouse. That's a statement about the stature and importance of this institution. That invitation was sent out. We first started to explore it with the White House in September, prior to the events that had happened as it relates to Israel, Hamas, and Gaza. I made the call. So if folks want to bring hate, you hate on me. When the president speaks here, he speaks to the world. If someone wants to be president of the United States, they need to be willing to be on platforms where they can speak to the constituencies that are most important to Morehouse. I declare that the road to the White House runs through Morehouse. That was before October 7th. We set this in motion. We have a platform at Morehouse that the world pays attention to. And we call people to that platform who are important in the world. The President of the United States is one of those people.
Now that's very interesting because I know if Donald Trump was the current president, he would not have received such an invitation. And some people are saying that the reason why Joe Biden is coming is because he's trying to make sure he doesn't continue to lose the support of black people, especially black men. And then you have these people that say that the president of Morehouse was bought and paid for. He did not like that question.
This call was made. This call was made before we were in the moment that we're in now. Around Israel, Gaza, Hamas.
I want to know if you've been paid to provide him a platform.
You want to know what?
If you have been paid to provide him a platform to address the student body,
Okay.
and further any kind of
Hey, Miles,
agenda.
let me stop you right there. I have not been paid. I am not bought. I'm not registered Democrat. I've never participated in a political campaign. I've never held a position in government. That question is an insult. But because you are a student here, I owe you the opportunity to do it. But I'm going to call it out. To ask me if I've been bought, if I've been paid, is an insult. Now I tell you, I've been here 7 years. Look at what I've done at this college and ask yourself, do you see one iota of evidence that I put my interest above this college?
Let me jump in real quick. I think that is a dope comment. Look, President Thomas, I thought I liked him because as I mentioned before, President Thomas is not a Morehouse man. And when he came to the school, he actually stayed in a freshman dorm for the first week. He stayed in a freshman dorm for the first week as a Morehouse man. I thought that was fun. I thought that was dope of him. And I think he's demonstrated, in my opinion, a high level of respect for the red clay hills that we call Morehouse College. So I don't think that I feel him. I'm surprised he didn't make that young man apologize to him, but that's beside the point. Jason would have made him apologize. That the idea that because somebody's coming, I'm being paid for it. Where are you getting that from? Where's there evidence of that? I would have made him show. He would have had to show evidence. That's just my little 2 cents.
I say that to you because I think of all of you as men. So I'm going to talk to you as a man who respects another man. So I just want to put that out. If anybody's wondering if I've been bought, I've been paid, the answer is no.
But yet you can hear that same brother who asked that question talk about the real reason why Joe Biden may be coming to speak to Morehouse.
He should not be able to exploit that.
But that's what he's here for. Nobody, come on now. Let's pretend that the whole event 9 time zones away didn't happen. Joe Biden would be campaigning here. Y'all know that. That is disingenuous. That's disingenuous to even be like, well, he can't campaign. That's what he was going to do. Y'all don't want him to campaign because you're upset about what's going on over in the Middle East. That's it. In any other situation, you'd have been perfectly fine with it. Like, just stop.
Opportunity by pushing any kind of political agenda or narrative, no campaign, all that should be barred. If he's going to address us, he needs to be giving us something, some kind of inspiration, nothing that has to do with his campaign. He's going to turn around and use it and let us know that we ain't black unless we vote him next election.
Real?
We should have restrictions on what he can say and can't say if you're just going to ignore what we think about him coming here in the first place.
But y'all let him get away with that, though. You all, and again, I'm going to be doing a video on tomorrow evening talking about Michael Eric Dyson and the "you ain't black if you don't vote for Biden." Y'all let him do that, though. You rewarded his bad behavior by electing him. You should have said, "Oh, I ain't black. Let me show you how unblack I am." But no, you did vote for him. Therein is the problem.
He was invited before the genocide began in Gaza. What about the Ukraine? We've seen since around 2022 exorbitant amounts of money being sent overseas. We have real problems here in the West End. Brother Revere pointed out that there's a supreme amount of poverty that is continuing to increase in our communities and throughout America. But we're bringing the president who continues to ship our tax funds overseas and continues to ignore our needs, but we're bringing here to address his needs of his campaign.
Now, we all know what's going on in Gaza. We all know what's going on with the war between Israel and Hamas. And we hear some of the questions there. And while we're against genocide wherever it happens, we're against that. We're against innocent people being victimized everywhere. Yet I think the media has done a great job of convincing young people in America that forget about what Hamas did on October 7th. Forget about that. Israel is the bad guy. Israel is the one that we need to attack. It's very similar to how they paint Christians as the evil people, as the ones generating all the cause of harm in this world. The evil Christians. Don't look at what I'm doing over here. No. They're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. That's what it seems like is happening when it comes to this whole Israel and Gaza situation. And too many people in that room have bought into that narrative that the media has spun.
The ICJ is saying
okay, hold on.
There's a possibility.
Okay, I got to say something about this guy right here. This guy right here. I got to let you be able to see him. Because he says something that's so bombastic. Let me back up just a little smidgen. He says something so ridiculous. Let him go.
That's what it seems like is happening when it comes to this whole Israel and Gaza situation. And too many people in that room have bought into that narrative that the media has spun.
The ICJ is saying there's a possibility of a genocide happening. And we're seeing our government continually sending more and more weapons, 2,000-pound bombs that are being dropped on whole neighborhoods, after situation after situation. And there's no accountability for what we're seeing with our own eyes. I'm giving him.
So he's worried that we're sending 2,000-pound bombs and obliterating entire neighborhoods. And he's missing the fact that there's entire neighborhoods of little black and brown babies that will never exist ever. Ever. They will never see the light of day but he's not concerned about that. But he's worried about something again, 9 time zones over. I need him to get, I need that energy down the street and around the corner at Planned Parenthood.
That Morehouse, we're giving him that Morehouse degree, that honorary doctorate, saying you're one of us. Now we're complicit in what he's doing.
Oh, by the way, you can see the fullness of this room, and you see right here, this room is not packed out, not even a little bit. It's 30 at best, but let's go.
So how do you justify what you're going to bestow on him on our behalf when he's basically a war criminal at this point?
What you just said is the thing that has kept me up at night. We have a diversity of views in our community, and we have an opportunity to express those views on this issue. So that his invitation does not mean that we as a community are in agreement or complicit.
But then you have this question from this brother who really sees it for what it is.
By doing this, you said you wanted Morehouse to be a road to the White House, but I feel like instead of making this a road to the White House, you're making it a tool of the White House. We've had Kamala Harris come. She spoke here. She got a few softball questions. And then we had Donald Trump come down the road, and he gave out sandwiches, and he was praised by people, and it was all over Fox News.
We did not have Donald Trump.
Regardless, Fox News still talked about how he was in the AUC area giving out.
We did not have Donald Trump.
Okay, but now we are having.
But we see right here, they wouldn't have Donald Trump there. He's saying we would not have Donald Trump here. So we see that he's aware. I do have to say, President Thomas is not being straightforward and honest. He knows that there is a difference, that you can say you're not a registered Democrat if you want to, but there's a difference. You would have one, but you wouldn't have the other. You wouldn't have both of them come to Morehouse. You wouldn't do that. Let's go.
But we are having President Biden come here now, and I feel like this is a really bad time, especially after the former president and the vice president just came, and now we're saying we're not giving a chance to say how we feel to him. He's just giving a chance to tell us how to feel. So, second of all, my question is, you stood up there, and when you were asked on whether or not you thought it was a genocide, you couldn't answer.
I said I would not answer.
You would not answer, but it feels like you're short of answering for the rest of us by having Joe Biden come here.
This is a publicity stunt. This
Right.
is Joe Biden and the Democratic Party
As
trying
always.
to shore up their most loyal voting bloc, the black community. And they're trying, and they know that they're losing support with black men. So what does Joe Biden do? Joe Biden goes to Morehouse. And for those of you who do not know about Morehouse, Morehouse is an all-male school. You have Morehouse and Spelman. They're right next to each other. Spelman is for women. Morehouse is for men. Black men primarily. Even though they may have some women, I think it's still all men. Somebody let me know about that. But I believe it's still all men. So Joe Biden, knowing that he's losing support with black men, decides to go to Morehouse. HBCUs have received funding.
Let me stop real quick. And he's 100% correct. This is a publicity stunt. So let's stop pretending like it's anything but that. It is a campaign stop. Because I guarantee you, if it were not an election year, you probably wouldn't have reached out to Biden, and you probably would not have gotten him on an off year. So if you had reached out to him, you probably wouldn't have got him, or you probably wouldn't even reached out to him because, he wasn't thirsty and in need of our votes. And again, Morehouse is a historically black college and university. And we put out 300 and 400 black men every year. So, you have a huge voting block that you need to support you going into November. And you would, all things being considered, this would be a great springboard into going into the summer campaigning, getting ready for the end of the year. So I can totally understand. Just call it what it is.
Every single president. Trump gave him funding. Biden gave him funding. Obama gave him funding. HBCUs, by and large, have had a large impact in my life. My dad, my uncles went to HBCUs. My brother went to HBCU. So I understand that my mama went to a HBCU. So I understand the relevance of HBCUs. Do I think HBCUs still have the same level of respect and honor that they once had in the community? No.
I don't think so.
And I say this begrudgingly. I say this because a lot of the people that go to HBCUs are poisoned with this victimization ideology, this oppression ideology, that America is systemically racist. You don't have a diversity of ideas flowing at HBCUs because they have been infiltrated by the Marxists, by the leftists, by the communists. They have been infiltrated by the Black liberation theology people. They have been infiltrated by the DEI people. So you don't have that same flow of ideas that you once had at HBCUs. And so the Democratic Party understands that, and that's why they go there, and that's why they use them as props to further their aims of keeping power. So Joe Biden is going there to do the exact same thing. He's not going there to give an agenda for black people. He's just going there to ensure that he doesn't lose any more of the black male vote, because Joe Biden wants to keep black people victimized. He does. It profits the Democratic Party. But we're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.
And there you go. So that is that's my little 2 cents on the whole Biden coming to Morehouse to speak at commencement. I disagree with it. I don't think he should come, not for the same reasons that many of them articulate, but rather because I don't think that he cares about Morehouse. I don't believe that he cares. I don't believe that. I don't believe he cares about black families. If he did, he would do more to see that black men were actually in their homes. He would do more to make sure that little black babies are actually born. Little brown babies are actually born. He doesn't care. He doesn't. He wants that position and that power to push through for another 4 years. And that's what it is. So this is a campaign move. And I'm disappointed in my alma mater. I wish they would make a different decision, but it is what it is. And I'm just here to watch it. So I appreciate y'all so much. I got another good one for you. This one, we're just going to watch the news about this one. And goodness gracious, you all are going to have a hoot right here. All right. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. You had some questions, and that's why we're here. So you saw the delivery drone outside of the Fulton County Jail. And you're like, Jason, what's going on? You saw the title. It said Amazon Prime Delivery Day at the Fulton County Jail. You're like, Jason, what's happening? They just did a massive contraband sweep at the Fulton County Jail. Yeah, the Fulton County Jail right down the street around the corner, the one that Nathan Wade was supposed to be responsible to see its upkeep and its standards being raised, the one that people are dying in on a regular basis, that Fulton County Jail. They just did a massive contraband sweep. You're not ready for this. You are not ready for this. So let's go look at it.
New at 6, only Channel 2 Action News is taking you inside a raid of the Fulton County Jail. And this is just some of what strike teams confiscated. Things like drugs, cell phones, shanks, a makeshift hatchet, even a bullet. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie has this exclusive story live from Northwest Atlanta. And Mark, the sheriff believes someone actually used drones to get stuff into the hands of inmates.
And the Fulton County Sheriff's Office says this is some of the contraband recovered in the massive shakedown we're on inside the Fulton County Jail. And a lot of the illegal cell phones, which can go for thousands inside the jail, drugs and tobacco recovered, came into the jail via illegal drone drops. Wait till you see the ingenuity involved, however misguided.
The sound is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing we're going up here to do is a massive shakedown. We're looking for any weapons, drugs, or any contraband that the inmates are not supposed to have.
Sheriff Pat Labatt says the Fulton County Sheriff's Office jail strike team struck a vein of contraband quickly in the first zone they hit.
This is a cell phone and charger found within seconds of hitting this unit.
Yes. On the high security 7th floor of the Fulton County Jail.
This has been a high priority area for us with respect to drone activity.
And before Saturday morning was done, men and women normally assigned not just to the jail, but to the courthouse and across the sheriff's office, who had assembled in the early morning darkness, had amassed a massive amount of dangerous material inmates aren't supposed to have, but did. Lots of makeshift weapons, including shanks, even a makeshift hatchet.
Look at this.
Cell phones, even a bullet, suspected drugs. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says all this from one shakedown. These are more than a half dozen suspected crack pipes?
Yes.
Taken from inside the jail.
Yep.
The Sheriff's Office says the shakedown turned up 22 illegal cell phones, suspected marijuana, tobacco, plenty of pills, even a bottle labeled as the prescription drug promethazine. And then there are the weapons.
I'm surprised the building's still standing.
Most of the weapons made from things stripped out of the building.
From the plumbing shafts to the lighting fixtures.
It smells like it.
We had watched as the stuff piled up in that one zone. Where'd those come from?
Cell 504.
It's just our commissary kiosk.
But what's it turned into?
The charging station.
This is marijuana from California. This is found in cells. And that's marijuana?
Yes, sir. How did that drone get in the window? Through the inmates burning, they use, as you can see, the exposed wires up in the light fixture, so they'll use that to start fires, and then they will just sit there until they can melt away the plastic. So the reason why now the inmates burn the holes inside of the windows is because they're using drones.
We told the story of drones in prisons, but drone drops are now a major factor in the contraband trade at the Fulton County Jail.
Absolutely. Some have crash landed, and ultimately with different types of payloads.
Ain't trial. 15 on right. I'm awaiting trial.
Innocent or guilty?
I'm innocent. I'm innocent.
Near the zone, we got shakedown reaction from one inmate.
We don't have no problems back here. These folks coming up here antagonizing it. We ain't got no problems up here.
The inmate we interviewed on camera earlier this morning, what'd you find in the cell he shares with somebody else?
We collected 2 cell phones out of that cell.
You know anything about a couple of cell phones?
No name about no contraband. No name about no contraband, no cell. I'm here awaiting trial.
In fairness, Natalie Ammons with the Sheriff's Office says there is no way to know if the cell phones belong to the inmate we interviewed, a cellmate, or someone else, and he was not charged with them. And I guess this image puts a fine point on the danger faced by staff and inmates here in the Fulton County Jail. The Sheriff's Office says the jail staff does smaller shakedowns on a regular basis, but the last one of this magnitude was shortly before Thanksgiving. Live inside the Fulton County Jail, Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
Mark, that is absolutely unbelievable. Not only the amount of stuff, but how they're getting it in. And we've been showing you the backstory on problems with drones, contraband, and inmates. Last month, Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie was with the Department of Corrections agents as they raided a drone repair shop in Gwinnett County called Thunder Drones. Agents arrested the owner, Robert Schwartz, and seized dozens of drones. They believe Schwartz has ties with gang members, and those drones were used to drop drugs and contraband into prisons.
Wow. That is so crazy. Wow. I just wanted y'all to hear that one. I just thought it would be a good way to end it. Like, wow. That is so wild, man. Just the stuff that these men and women that are trying to keep these people safe in jail are dealing. And mind you, this is the jail. This is not prison. This is jail. This is, you get caught for a DUI, you go to jail. You get arrested with some contraband on the street, you go to jail. You haven't been tried into such of that nature. It's just going to jail. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but I just thought that was interesting. I wanted y'all to check that out. I thought you would get a little, I don't know, just like, wow, man, how much these people go through in order to get something inside the jail. Cell phones and drugs and all that kind of stuff. That is amazing, man. All right, real quick, I want to thank every last one of y'all in the chat. If you do enjoy this, it looks like I got like 6 people. It's not telling me really how many people are watching it. So if you haven't liked it, if you don't mind, if you do like this kind of content, it lets me know that I should kind of do this kind of stuff more often. Just hit me up with that like if you don't mind. If you don't like it, hit the like button 3 times. It kind of sort of does the same thing. But I really do appreciate y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed this. conversation. Let me go real quick and check out what you all were saying. So good shout outs. My sister Shara's in the building. Good to see you. Love America's in the house. Dear woke Christian, you know my super white, half Hispanic children are still going around singing, I'm blackity black. Hey, whatever I can do to help out, whatever I can do to help my nieces and nephews out, I'm going to do it. Uncle DWC is here for you, Shara. I'm here for you. I'm here for the kids. I guess I believe he's not black enough for them, Love America says. Do they realize there's a whole enclave of black Jews that live in Ethiopia? Shh, don't tell them that. They don't know that. Why do they never talk about the Israeli women and children being tortured, essayed, and executed? They won't do that. Exactly. Love America. They act like Israel started the conflict. It's so ignorant. Hey, what's going on, Susie? So good to see you. Good to see you. They had a ceasefire with Hamas and the Palestinian Authority in West Bank. Absolutely. Sure did. Thank you, Susie. Like the video. If you do like it, help your guy out. Help him out. Right. Love America says, I agree. Babies being killed throughout America as a sacrifice to their God of self. See, and we need to have that conversation. We need to have that conversation. Oh, there's no argument with me at all, Shar. You say, I'm convinced that Planned Parenthood is one of the most evil organizations that ever existed. No argument for me at all. I did a deep dive into the life of Margaret Sanger, and I even read her book. It's called Angel of Death. And I reviewed her biography. That woman was wild. That woman was wild. And I mean that in the most condescending way possible. She was evil. Oh, let's go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Susie says it. It is for sure. Margaret Sanger was a wicked woman, and her organization is just as wicked. Wow. So we're on the same page. I voted third party both times. I'm sorry, both Obama elections. I could not be in good conscience vote for another candidate. American Constitutionalist Party both times. There we go. Oh, sorry, I didn't pull it up. There we go. When and why did black people begin supporting Democrats in the 60s? In the 60s. During the, was that LBJ signing the Great Deal? Yeah, that was it. The party that fought for slavery and destroyed nuclear family. It seems a lot of black men and women were realizing this. Am I wrong? Absolutely. We are well aware of that. Tomorrow when I do my video on Michael Eric Dyson, he talks a lot about Candace Owens because he has a great deal of disrespect for Candace. And black conservatives is very interesting because in one hand, he's trying to hold on to conserve like the black family, but then on the other hand, he's trying to embrace liberal political policies. And he realizes he can't hold both of them. It's really weird to watch him try to balance both of them. So we'll do that tomorrow evening. Much regret voting for W. Bush. He was. Okay, let's see. Lots of people giving it. I guess this is now our who have voted for confessional. All right. I don't think it was true though, Char. Char asked about. You said is it an insult? It is an insult, but is it true? I don't think it was true though. So I do think it was just an insult to be an insult. And you see this amongst people when they don't agree with you. They throw out a pejorative. They throw out a baseless claim that you can't prove, that they can't prove, and that you can't disprove. So it's just kind of really weird. So I think that was interesting. But no, I don't think President Thomas is bought. And I don't think that he received any monetary benefit. And I also don't believe we would be asking that question if Wesley Snipes was coming to commencement, or if Oprah was coming to commencement, or Elon Musk. Nobody would ask, did you make some monetary benefit from that? Nobody would ask that. All right, look, we have here. All right. Lots of good conversation going on. Looks like just a lot of good family reunion, which is always what I like to see. Good conversation back and forth, lots of support for one another. And let's end on this. Thank you, Jason. I love the content and your personality. You make me laugh. Well, thank you so much, Love America. I appreciate y'all. I do want to remind you that tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be hosting a live content creator meetup at my studio. So April Chapman and Rick Caldwell, as well as Kevin Briggins, I believe Kiana Shaw is going to be joining us from Kiana's Corner, as well as me. So we'll be having a good old conversation, talking about lots of good topics and such like that. So if you have time tomorrow, we'd love to have you come check us out. It'll be on this channel. And I'm going to probably stream to their channels as well, but it'll definitely be here on Dear World Christian. And I thank y'all so much. I will also be doing a late night for everybody discussion, looking at Michael Eric Dyson and his recent interview on The Breakfast Club. And the reason I want to talk about that is because I do believe that there's a lot of missing pieces as it relates to understanding why and how people make decisions in politics, and why and how people look at Trump or how they look at Biden. It's not a binary black and white type of thing. So I want to discuss that. So hopefully we'll have a good chance to do that on tomorrow. But everybody, I want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me tonight. That was a lot of fun. And wasn't too bad. Maybe we can do this more often. So we'll see you all tomorrow, Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then also tomorrow night, we're going to be doing that live, talking about Michael Eric Dyson. So I'm looking forward to it. Everybody, thank you again for your support. Thank you for your encouragement and your prayers. I'm looking forward to doing this again real soon, Lord willing. So until then, everybody, grace and peace. Take care.